Good morning. Morning, good people. So we want to welcome you back to our weekly meeting. Today we'll be handling transfer of interest in land. I hope all of you can hear me. Maybe I can see maybe by either from the chat or from someone raising their hand and just saying they are here. Oh, good. I can see some confirmations. For those who are joining us for the first time, we have been having webinars every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Actually using the same link, so you can still save this link and be able to access the next webinar that will be coming on Tuesday next week. We will be telling you at the end of this presentation or this training on what we'll be training on next Tuesday. We have had some very engaging webinars since we started, I think over a month ago. We've had a lot of feedbacks, a lot of follow-ups, and a lot of rich feedback from most of our users. And we have noted the many challenges or the few challenges and the milestones we have made since we brought the system live. So for starters, RA 33, which is a transfer of interest in land, is one of the most commonly used form in our transactions. Of course, there are many other transfer forms that are there. Maybe I would think about 17 of them. Obviously, when we present the training, we shall be able to show you. But basically, my name is Mashiwaka Hoshio. Sorry, I forgot to say that when I was beginning. And I want to welcome you again to our meeting today. So for starters, for you to be able to do any transaction on the system, there are the basic things that you require to have done. One, as a property owner, you need to have opened an Ardhisasa account, which is a very simple process. Once you are able to access our dashboard, you can be able to see a tab where you can be able to register. You can register as an individual or as a company, or what we call the back office registration for government institutions and other institutions that are not under BRS. So once you're able to do that, the property owner is required to go on their account, and under My Properties tab, they're supposed to add their property for verification, which the ministry engages in. Once we are able to verify your property through the various checks that are done to the departments, then once your property is verified, then you can be able now to do any transactions, whether it's a search, whether it's a transfer, or any other transaction that you need to be able to do on the system. Now, the transfer of interest in land is the many transactions on the system that must be initiated by an advocate. And this is an advocate who must have upgraded their account, on Ardhisasa, so that they are able to have access to be able to initiate transactions on the system. So once now it's also important to note that all the other parties, whether it is the transferee also, must also have an account, so that when they are able to do to sign on the transaction, they can be able to do it from their account. It's also good to note that transactions on Ardhisasa do not require you to provide manual documents. The only document that is required is the title, which the system will prompt you, as we shall prompt you to surrender the title to us. And then at the end of the process, the system shall be able to generate the form RA 33, which will be provided to the parties after the end of the transaction. So, karibu sana. Before I hand over to our trainer, you can be able to access our chat. You can post your questions there. We will be responding as we go along. And then we'll have a situation where we can allow you now to raise your hand so that you can ask your questions. I know there may be other issues from other transactions that you may require, but as we engage in this training for LRA 33, kindly let's stick to issues on transfer. Then now when we have our Q&A, you can be able to bring in other issues that you may have concerns about. I want to introduce, I'll ask my team to introduce themselves. I've said my name is Mashua Kahoshio from the State Department of Land and Physical Planning, the Registration Department.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mutai Nambai I'm Assistant Trainer at Ardhisasa.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leah, also System Trainer from Ardhisasa.
Good morning, everyone.
So, karibuni sana. I'll now hand over to Mohammed Hassan, who is going to take us through the training. Karibuni sana.
Once you have landed on the landing page, we assume that you already have an account on Ardhisasa. And once you have an account, you have to upgrade your account to a professional account as such. Transfer is done by an advocate. Once now you switch roles to an advocate, your landing page be, and it will show that it's an advocate. On the landing page, land registration section, you can click on view more and you'll see the various services under the land registration. The process we are undertaking today is transfer, and it is the transfer of interest in land from LRA 33. Go ahead and click on it. We'll start with the pending tab. These are the transactions, the application that you have initiated. They are pending for one reason or another, maybe verification. We also have the ongoing tab. This is applications that have been initiated, but it's up to the ministry side for the officials to do their part. Have the completed tab. This is basically applications that have been initiated and have been completed. They will be appearing under this tab. Also have the rejected tab. These are applications that have been rejected for one reason or another. The reasons for rejection will be communicated. We also have the cancel tab. These are for applications that have been cancelled. You can initiate the cancelling as the applicant, and they will be appearing under this tab. An important factor also to note, an important point to note is that this new application button will not be visible if you have not switched to account to an advocate. Yeah? So we'll go ahead and start this application. Most all of the applications start with an FAQ, which are the frequently asked questions. We also, the communication department, you also make tutorials on YouTube and also on the social medias. And as such, each process that has a YouTube tutorial will have a link. So when you click on this link, you'll also get a step-by-step guide on how to do this application. Take your time and just familiarize yourself with this application by just understanding what are the requirements needed for this application, the actors as such, and just get to understand the questions that are frequently asked for this application. We'll proceed, and you can click on next. Here is the proprietorship details. Kindly sure that the parcel that we want to transfer be enumerated. That means it's enumerated, it's added on the proprietor side, and it shows under the My Properties tab. And as such, transfer can be done via Ardhisasa, and the verification process that will come to it at a later stage will only now progress after now your parcel is enumerated. We'll proceed to fill in the parcel. Will be transferring is Nairobi. As such, we'll start with the registry is Nairobi. ensure this format adhered to when you're entering the parcel number. Start with the registry / okay, and then the block, and then now the block number / the parcel number. So registry / block, the block number with no space in between here, / and then the parcel number. We'll now fill in the transfer details. This is now the proprietor, the person who's transferring the parcel. Okay. We need to add the Ardhisasa ID, the transferor. I'll proceed to enter the Ardhisasa ID of the transferor. And once you enter the transferor's Ardhisasa ID, on search. So you need to choose the category of person to execute, with the attorney or self. For the purpose of this webinar, we'll just proceed with self. Remember, you also have your attorney. You just need to choose the attorney option, enter the power of attorney entry number, and click on search. And once you click on search, the power of attorney entry number will display down below and the Ardhisasa ID, and you'll click on save. But for the purpose of this one, you just click self. If the parcel has more than one proprietor it is joined, you'll also proceed and enter Ardhisasa ID, the proprietors, okay? And all their names will be displayed below. The person executing for transference will be displayed on the right. The parcel that you are transferring, the proprietor's Ardhisasa ID and name has been displayed. And in case you've entered incorrectly, maybe you had listed it down and you entered the transferee as a para, you can just click on remove. Then now we'll head to the transferee. This is the person who will be the owner of the property. Remember the holding type also can be sole, it can be proprietorship in common, and as such, more than one transferee, we'll just add all the transferees using the Ardhisasa ID. Let's proceed to add the Ardhisasa ID of the transferee. Okay. And as such, you've seen we've entered the ID of the transferee. We can now proceed and click on next. Here now is the transfer details. First, you need to enter the nature of the interest transferred, like freehold, leasehold. The person you're transferring, the lease pro. Select the currency. Remember currency other than the Kenyan currency. For the purpose of assessment of stamp duty, we'll go with the current exchange market when you choose currency other than the Kenyan currency. So proceed to enter the consideration amount. Currencies in Kenya shillings. As such, now we'll just enter the consideration amount. We'll say now the consideration amount is 7 million. Okay. Then we'll proceed to enter the pickup person details. This is the person who will be acting the title after the application has been approved and has been acted on. And this is the person now who will be picking up the new title with the changes that have been effected on the title. The pickup person, and let's say now it's oh. Remember also, if in case you notice that the name, what the Ardhisasa that you had entered, in case it is wrong, remember you also have the option of removing. You also have the option of removing person that have entered. We'll now proceed to the law firm details. Okay. Here we have an option where you can tie this application to a registered law firm. Okay. For you to do this, the registered law firm, you need to have the Ardhisasa ID. Once you enter the Ardhisasa ID of the law firm, you just click on search and the details of the law firm will just populate. We'll proceed to enter the law firm. We'll just fill in these details for the law firm. Assume this the law firm you're using is not registered. Kindly ensure that all fields that are marked with this asterisk sign, they are mandatory to fill there. As such, your application will not go through if you have not filled this field. There are two fields we haven't filled: the street address and the website. They are not marked with an asterisk sign. Okay? If you have these details, you can just fill it. If not, okay, you can just leave it. We'll just put one of the fields that are not mandatory. Let's just put the website. So www. Once you've completed the law firm details, if you have any other provisional details that you feel it's necessary to have this application, and can always provide these provisions on this text and click on add. Okay. We'll now proceed to the valuation details. You'll have to select the status of the land, if it is developed or undeveloped. Okay. If it is developed, you'll need to enter the type of development. Okay. And also an important factor here is that you need to understand that if you'll just be assigned a government value, you have a private valuer, valuation cost to be met by transfer parties outside the system. So I'll just say a parcel that you're transferring, let's say it's developed. So I'll say, just as an example, let's say we have offices. So that's the valuation. Then we go ahead with the stamp duty details. As you know, you can always apply for exemption of stamp duty or not. If you choose an application for, if you choose for being exempted for stamp duty, you need to select the section under which the exemption has been sought. So it's either section 17, other section, or legal notices. And also, if you have any other additional stamp duty details, you can always enter them on this additional, on this text box provided. So let's apply for exemption of stamp duty. And okay, so we'll just say select the section 17. That's where the exemption has been sought. So we'll proceed and click on next. Here is the documents upload page. I remember the system allows these three extension formats for uploading the file. So either your file is a PDF, a PNG, JPEG. Okay. Kindly ensure you have a scanned copy of all the documents that you need. And just a hint or a way to just make your work easy as an advocate, make sure you save all these documents that you need to upload on one folder. Okay. So if you have all this in one folder, the uploading process will be quite easy for you. But we'll just the documents here that we've been told to upload, one has been marked with an asterisk sign, the other one has not been marked with an asterisk sign. So meaning, if you don't upload this document that is written application for adjudication of stamp duty, because we applied for exemption of stamp duty under section 17, the documents will need to upload this application for adjudication of stamp duty. And we also have the disposal concept. The disposal concept here hasn't been marked with an asterisk sign. Okay, so it's not mandatory for this one. But in case you know that maybe the parties you are representing as the advocate and this need for disposal concept, just kindly upload it. Also, if there's any other document that hasn't been required of you to upload it, it's always this link. Okay, so this link you'll just have to key in the name And as soon as you just start keying in the name of the file that you want to upload, use file button here will be active. So let's say I want to upload the sale agreement. File button will be active. It will be displayed here. So let's start with the spousal function. And once you upload the file that the document that you wanted to upload, once you just upload it, it will be the name of the document will just be displayed alongside the choose file button. Okay, so we'll go ahead and upload the adjudication of stamp duty. There you go. So both the documents have been uploaded, and the name of the documents have been displayed alongside the choose file button. So we'll go ahead and click on next. Now here is the confirmation page with all the details that you've provided. Mainly just scroll through page on whether the fields that you entered what now are being displayed on this confirmation page. Take a look on everything, and once if you're comfortable, you can just go ahead now and click on submit. Remember, if you saw any issue and you wanted to correct, there's always the option of going back. Okay, all the pages, in case you just want to go back. So we'll just go ahead and submit. You'll be prompted to approve whether you want to submit this. Go ahead and click on yes. And you'll get a confirmation message that the transfer application has been successfully completed. So this is the first submission. And once you close, automatically you'll be directed to this page. And one important thing to note here that there will be a progress level bar. Okay, so this progress level bar will help you understand where your application lies. Also, as a metric where you can now measure the percentage. Once you've done the first submission, it will be at 40%. And as such, you can just see what they're telling you that the application has been received, but they are waiting for verification and payment confirmation. Therefore, So therefore, the next part is the application verification section. So the first person to start the verification process is the advocate. And the advocate will be accepting on whether to represent the parties involved. Our advocate here is presenting the transferor and the transferee. Such, the first thing they'll have to accept representation. So, transferor, they accept or reject. Now, the advocate here accepts. Click on accept, you'll get this message. Well, it's basically just a confirmation on the name and the Ardhisasa ID of the person that you want to represent. So if you are okay with it, you can just go ahead and click on accept. So we also repeat the same process for the transferee, assuming that now our application and the advocate is representing both of the parties, the transfer and the transferee. So we accept, same message comes, and if you're okay with it, you just click on accept. After accepting to represent, the action part will change to this message that you accepted to represent, and it will be green. And then the final part now is the signature section. Here you have this field where now if you want to sign, you'll just sign on this field. But also we also have other options to sign. Now you can sign with another device. When you click on this option, you have 4 options for signing with another device. You can scan the QR code using the device to sign. You can send the link for signing to a phone number. You can also send the link for signing to an email address, or you can copy the link to clip. Whatever option that you feel is okay to have your signature, you'll just choose that option. Remember, we also have, in case you just need more communication on this, you have this link here, which is basically a tutorial on the available signing options on the platform. On your account, if you just want to have your signature in a specific way, or if you just want a signature that you think is okay with you, on this part of the account, that's where you'll get it. So we'll proceed and sign in this space area. Just when you want, wherever you will just choose to start signing, just hold the left click button. Now go ahead and append your signature. We'll just append my signature. If this signature, if you're not okay with it, you can also click on this option for here. And if you're okay with it, you can just go ahead and click on save. Let's just do the clear. As you can see, I'm done with that. And I'll just approve one that I'm okay with it. But remember, so that's my signature, and I'm okay with it as the advocate. So I'll just go ahead and then click on save. Then you'll be prompted to approve. If you want to submit this as your signature, if you're okay with it, just click on yes. Once your signature, once you've signed and your signature is okay, either by the options that I've just showed you, the 4 options, or you just signed in, you'll get this message here that you have signed successfully. You also have this option, editing signature, in case by that time you thought like, and you saw like maybe this is not the option for you and this is not the right signature. You assume this is the signature that the advocate is okay with, and scroll up, you'll notice that the party that you are representing haven't done their verification. They do the verification via OTP status, and they also do it by signing. They affirm it by signing. As you can see, they are not verified parties. But for you, the advocate being now Leah, the signature status is signed. Okay. For the parties that you have represented, you can always see if on this application verification section, you can always see their signature status, their OTP status. Maybe now, if you just want to get to know where your application hasn't been acted on, this is the place where you as an advocate can just understand. Okay. So the advocate has submitted the application and they have verified the application. So the next thing, parties involved to verify the application. Therefore, I'll log in as now the transfer. I'll submit the application. I'll verify the application. I'll log in as the. Remember, you can always log in with your Ardhisasa ID or identification number. So for the transfer, I'll log in with my Ardhisasa ID, my password. I'll click on continue. I'll enter the OTP. It will be sent on the phone number you used to register with on my account. This is the transferer's account. They'll just, once the transferer is logged in, you just navigate to this left side of your screen. We'll see notification. Click notification. Okay. You'll get the notification there. So as you can see, the advocate has accepted to represent you. You'll also get the reference number. And the other notification here, as you can see, has been created, the transfer. So you're told to log into the portal to confirm with a signature and a one-time password code. Once you click on this notification, directed to this page. As you can see, the application verification section shows that there's an OTP code that you need to get sent to your phone, and you need to verify it. Remember, there's also an important note below the OTP field. It says that the OTP code only enter the OTP code if you authorize the application made on your behalf by the advocate. And the name of the advocate appears there. So we assume that the transferer is okay with this. They have communicated with the advocate, and as such, they'll just click on Get OTP. This OTP, once you click on it, you'll get this message that it is sent to your phone. Remember, this is the phone, the same phone that you register, the line that you register with on your account, the one that the OTP that still came to your account when you're logging in With the same number that you'll get the OTP. And the OTP will read from your phone as the transfer verification OTP. Therefore, you can still differentiate from the other login OTP. Therefore, the OTP has just affected on my side. I'll proceed to enter the OTP. Okay, then click on verify. Then you will get this message. The OTP has been successfully verified. My colleagues here have helped me with the other party, the transferee. First, now I've just verified the OTP status, the transferer and the transferee, both of them will reflect as verified. But you notice that I haven't signed. The transferee, let's say now they logged in. Once the communication was they got the communication. The advocate has been in communication with the parties. They have all signed in and they have they've requested for the OTP and they have verified the OTP. For one party here, it is now the transferer, haven't signed in. But the rest, you can see they have all signed in and they're verified. So we'll proceed this part where now you'll just need to add the signature. Remember, I highlighted before that there's always this option, the one that you'll be comfortable on. These 4 options, you can just choose on any. If you need any more explanation, there's always this link here. We'll take you on YouTube and you get the video on our tutorial on the available signing options on this platform. We'll proceed and sign in the signing area. And I'll click on save. I'll affirm my signature by clicking yes. And my signature status will change to sign successfully. And on the verification section, it just changed to sign. And the parties are verified. Okay. Now, once the first submission was done by the advocate, the next part is verification. We have finished verification. So what is awaiting us now? Once we refresh our page, you'll notice that you'll need to submit your current title. Automatically, the system will book an appointment and will raise a ticket for you. So once you just head on to my appointment section, on it, under upcoming, the login as the advocate. Just a minute. That was the transferee. Login advocate. Need to enter the code. Okay. Once we as the advocate is the advocate account. Click on notification. You will see the message that I told you guys about. An invite will have been created, and you'll be notified to navigate to my appointment section. Okay. So once you click on this, up on the left side of your screen, under my appointments, notice that you have an invitation. It's just 13 minutes. Time after me, July 11th, 10:38. Okay, just 13 minutes ago. You click on view. Once you click on view, you see the ticket details. Here, we need you now to select the date for appointment, where now you can surrender the title. Subject, as you can see, is document surrender, and the ticket information surrender of title of document. So the advocate proceeds and chooses on the calendar the date. Let's say now they'll be submitting tomorrow, and the time they are comfortable with, tomorrow early in the morning. Sorry about that. Tomorrow at 9. Okay. So once you've selected the date and time, okay, you just proceed and click on submit. You just need to approve that you want to set the appointment, click on yes, and you'll get this confirmation message that the application has been scheduled successfully. This invite will now transition to the upcoming appointments tab. Okay, as you can see, you'll be the first one to reflect. It's go elect time. So you click on view, and you'll be able now to get your gate pass. When you click on this option for getting gate pass, there's a QR code here that you can also scan on your phone, and it will have the messages, and you can also download the documents when you click on this. Okay. In case maybe for one reason or another, you felt maybe now the time and the date is not convenient to you, you can always click on reschedule. So when you click on this option, you'll just select on the date and also the time, and it will be the date that you're comfortable with will be reflected once you reschedule. So we assume that the date of our appointment and the time is okay with us, and as such, we'll okay. So we assume that now the title has been surrendered, and once the advocate navigates to the my notification tab, okay, they'll get that the ticket has been closed and resolved, meaning now the document has been surrendered, and the ticket versus the appointment it was reflected on this side, and the document has been received, as the document has been surrendered. When we navigate now to our appointment, to our application, we'll notice that here is our application on the pending tab. Okay, so we still now need to. Now, once we click on view, just a minute, okay. Immediately you'll be brought to this page. You'll notice that the status of your application is always displayed here. Okay, it shows you it's ongoing, and there's a message here. Please wait for the stamp duty for your application to be assessed. At this point, the advocate will get a call from the valuer to assist with the location of the site, purpose of assessment of stamp duty. Okay, for the evaluation, and this is just for the purpose of stamp duty. Okay. Now what we achieve, we've met with the valuer, and the valuer did their task, and the stamp duty now has been assessed. We'll see now this is application. We'll navigate to the invoice tab. We'll try now to assess the stamp duty, but in the meantime, I'll leave this time for any questions that you feel you need clarification on, whatever that you want to ask. Just kindly now, I'll leave the floor to assess the stamp duty, and I'll leave the floor to Mr. Kahocho and Mr. Timothy Ambai. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So from where Mohammed has left, we might not be able to complete the transaction because this is a process which goes to valuation, and we will not be able to display the valuation bit. But anyway, from here, what is required from the advocate is that after you complete the signing as Mohammed has displayed, and you have surrendered your title, the system will push your application to the assessor of stamp duty. The reason why it goes to the assessor of stamp duty is for the assessor to determine the percentage that will be charged. We have the 2% and the 4%. And once the assessor gives the percentage, the system again pushes the application to valuation department. The valuation department will contact the advocate who initiated the process for purposes of a site visit for valuation. And once the valuation is done and the valuer gives the value of the land, the system will determine. We have the percentages and the formulas that are applied, which has incorporated in the application. So the system will generate stamp duty based on the valuation of land or the consideration amount, whichever, and you will get an invoice as the advocate. And as displayed on the screen, we have the invoices tab, and you will get an invoice on your tab, which will have guidelines on how to pay the invoice. Once you pay the invoice, you will be shown how to settle your invoice. Sometimes we have challenges on how people pay, and you might not be able to settle the invoice on your side. But we have an internal mechanism, is a ticket for you through the camera. We confirm the proof of payment that you paid the stamp duty for you. And after that is done, now you come and submit an application. You can see on your screen, you have a submit button, which is inactive. That button only will be active once you pay the stamp duty. So that is the process up to that point. We will not be able to complete because valuation is another process, which is a lengthy and time. So that is the process, how it flows on the public side. Once you submit it to the registration department, the end product of the process will be a new title bearing the name of transferee and an LRA form for the transfer. So it will depend with which kind of transfer you choose. For the kind of transfer that you did, it was an LRA that so you'll get an LRA that form. If you are doing transfer by charge, you'll get an LRA. If it's a registration of administrators, it will be an LRA 39. So whichever kind of form of transfer you choose, you'll get an LRA form and a title for it. So basically, that is the transfer process. I would like to respond to some of the questions that I have seen on the chat. There is a question by someone by the name Nicole asking if it's possible that we link the application that we do to the law firm account. Yes, Nicole, it's possible. We have done so for banks when they do charges. We display all the transaction for the involving the bank account. We are implementing the same for the law firms, but the only thing that we are requesting the law firms that they register on the platform, because we have so many law firms that they are undertaking processes, but they are not registered. Hard for us to display because you have to have an account for us to display for you the transactions that you have. So there are a number of things that we are implementing for firms. One of them is the one I mentioned. The other one, we also have a scenario whereby an advocate in your law firm initiates transactions. Along the way, they quit for whatever reason, they are not in good terms, and it carries a transaction, which basically is for your law firm. We are implementing so that as a law firm, we're able to have those applications made and those are some of the improvements we are having. There is a question by someone by Adam Khan asking if it's possible to send a notification to the person. At the moment, we don't send a notification to the picker person digitally, but we do give a call once a process for customer department. So I believe for those of you who have done transactions with the system, I know you can testify that you have received calls and it's a system. But nonetheless, we will implement that as an improvement system, and we will be implementing on that. There is a question also by, I think it's the same person, Adam Khan, asking the cost of value. I didn't understand your question quite well. So maybe I'll ask that
I'll ask you to clarify that question. There is a question by a lady by the name Lydia asking how we verify the signature that are appended on the system. Yes, we do verify the signatures that are on the system. We have quite a number of measures that we have. Even before we come point of verifying the signature, our system has what we call identity mapping. By the time you make an application as an advocate or as a client, we have verified your details upon registration. But it doesn't stop there. We also do have a digital system for the documents that were held in the manual space. Digitize them, the officers working with applications have access to them, and we can see the signatures that you use in the manual space. The second layer of verification that we request every user on the system, once they create an account, to append a signature on their account. That signature will not be used during transaction, used as a specimen signature. Say that when you do a transaction, the officer has the access to the signature you send on the transaction and the signature you send on your account. So we have the documents that were in the manual space, we have the signature on your account and the signature that you input on your application. And if the registrar always feels your signature is not satisfactory, is not satisfied with the signature, we have cases where they call you to the office, give you a device, you sign. So we have those layers of I'll ask Mr. Adam Khan to clarify his question of the cost of value and an open room for questions now. So, Mr. Khan.
My question on the valuation was that if we pick a private valuer, we assume the Ardhisasa team or the Ministry of Lands will pick the private valuer out of the panel of valuers. And when the system says that the fees will be paid out of the system, does this mean that we will have to negotiate fees with the valuer privately, or will an invoice be automatically generated and we'll have to pay that, but the payment will be made outside of Ardhisasa?
Mr. Khan, at the moment, for valuation, the way we have implemented on the system, we do allow only the government valuers to valuation. So if you have your private valuers, we have, at the moment, we haven't implemented or but there are discussions on how to incorporate the private valuers to do the valuation. But you do understand also that the private valuers, after they do the valuation, they submit their work to the government valuer for verification. So we are in a discussion on how, I think there is a stakeholder meeting in the valuers board and the ministry and some other stakeholders on how to create the valuers, the private valuers, to do valuation and how all that will be created. So at the moment, we only allow government valuers on the system.
Noted, thank you.
So I can pick a few more issues that have been raised. First is on the issues of timelines. This is where we have had quite a bit of some challenge on timelines. And I think that is why some of these trainings have become very important, so that we are able to be on one page, so that we do not eat into the time after the application has been made, because there has been too much back and forth between the advocate and the ministry officials whenever a transaction has been raised or has been submitted. And I want to highlight some of the few challenges that have been very common, that is making a transaction even go for weeks, whereas we would expect to be able to finalize your transaction within 4 days. Now, the issues of passport photos. Most of our clients or your clients, whenever they are opening their Ardhisasa accounts and they are required to upload their profile photos, some of them do not understand that the profile photo will be used on the transaction. The system will automatically pull the photo and affix the photo on the transaction form or the RRA form for the transaction that the advocate has made an application for. So if you get an application where your client had a photo or a selfie or just behind, there's one who actually made a very good one in front of a lorry. And what happens is when you initiate the transaction, what we see in the ministry is that photo. So you'll find that we will return the photo or we'll return the application, sorry, to the advocate to ask the client to upload a passport photo size in front of a plain background as is required. So the photo is an issue that has been eating into our time. The other issue is, of course, the issue of the signing. I know the issue of authenticating signatures have been well addressed by my colleague, that there are several ways that we have to authenticate their signatures. But we have also had challenges when you are signing some of the applications. The party or the actors are not able to sign within the signing pad, and therefore you will find that the signature has been cropped in a way, and therefore that signature is incomplete. Again, you will find that if you made a signature or what we can call a profile signature when you open an account, or what we call an account signature, that account signature, you are not able to see it. But the ministry is able to do it when you do a transaction. And you will find that sometimes your clients will forget that the kind of the signature they made. So the signature they have made on the application fundamentally differs from the one that is on the account. And we will therefore return the application to you to sign or to make a signature that is consistent with the one that you have made on the application. Of course, we understand that there is a need, of course, to move to what we call an advanced electronic signature, which obviously we are working very closely with the Communication Authority so that we ensure that we have a signature that is based on an advanced certificate that identifies the person who is signing. And therefore, the issues of signature will become more easy. I know we also have an issue that is being addressed on how we can allow people to use their thumbprint. The system is still being developed, and therefore that one is still a work in progress for those who may be having queries on people who want to use signatures. And then the other issue that we have had that eats into our time is the issues of the spousal consent that has been submitted together with the application. And the point has been whenever the advocate is, for example, doing an affidavit of marriage or a spousal consent, sometimes because that spousal consent on a manual space is usually attached to the main document, the parties may forget to actually indicate all the particulars of the property. And therefore, you may find a spousal consent that does not indicate the parcel number and just indicates the property, or it does not indicate, for example, the transferor's name, or just say the transferor hearing. So you'll find that that causes a bit of back and forth between the ministry and the advocate. For those transacting on companies, there is the issue of the CR12, where again, you will find that you have forgotten to upload the CR12, and the CR12 helps us to be able to see the roles of the persons who are doing the signing on behalf of the company, and therefore that back and forth it's into the time. But this training will actually help so that you're able to understand that this is exactly what is expected. I think the issues of percentage were explained. Maybe I can ask Timothy just to recap a bit on the issues of percentages, so that we do not have a scenario where sometimes the advocate has not submitted an application, and yet that advocate is claiming that the property or the transaction is still with the ministry. Kindly, Timothy, you can recap a bit on the issues of the percentage
and where the advocate requires to submit the application.
On the percentages, it differs based on the processes, because we do have processes that have a number of steps. Well, let's take an example of a transfer. A transfer will be initiated, it goes to the collector of stamp duty, goes to valuation, then it goes for registration. We have a process such as the adding of property, which is applied from by the applicant, and it goes direct to the registration department. But basically, on the percentages, on that progress level bar, the green bar on top of your screen will always give you a message. So on the system, the way we developed is that we have what we call, let me call them nodes or stages of an application. Say that you apply for a transfer, then it moves to the collector. It moves first of all to the execution bit. There is the title submission. We group them as one process. Once you are done, it moves to the collector of stamp duty to give the assessment and valuation. We group them as one stage. Once that is done, we expect you to pay the stamp duty. That is another stage. Then it goes to the registration department. Under the registration department, we have two levels of process. And it will always tell you it has been assigned. You might see say that it has been assigned to an investigating officer, then assigned to a registrar. So it differs with those kind of steps. But it depends on the kind of application on the system. But the most important is that the system will always give you a short message on where your application is being processed at. So if that question is well handled. There is a question on the chat by someone with the initial of SW asking the difference between LRA 33 and LRA 36. LRA 33 is transfer of interest in land, which is a form that can be used in number of kind of transfer. LRA 36 is transfer of joint interest. So if you want land joint, you can use the LRA 36. Transfer property. There is also a question on handling of simultaneous transactions. Maybe it could be a discharge, a transfer and a charge, or a discharge and a charge. At the moment on the system, we have only allowed some simultaneous transactions done, but there are some which we might not be able to do it at the moment. And for some, let me call them technological implementation issue. For a discharge and a charge, or for transactions where the ownership on land does not change, we are able to do that kind of transaction. But where the ownership of land changes, it is quite challenging at the moment to do that kind of transaction. And the reason is because the way the system is implemented is check the ownership of land before the transaction. So if you are doing a transfer and a charge, when you do the transfer, we check who is the current owner of land. If you want to do the charge before we approve the transfer, when you go and do the charge, we check and we find that the person you are putting as the charger is not the current owner. But we've had engagement with the stakeholders, majorly the LSK, and we have our team working on a model to allow that. I don't want to give timelines, but all I can assure is that the soonest time possible, we will have a way forward. So that is on the simultaneous transaction. There is someone by the name Mr. Kamau who is asking on the valuation formulas. I think the valuation formulas are well stipulated, and there are 2 percentages that are used. There's 2% for 4% for parcels which lie within municipalities, and there are 2% for parcels which lies outside the municipalities. So those are the only percentages that are applied, and it's applied against the value of land. So those are the formulas that we use on the system. There is a question by a gentleman by the name Gideon Nyoike asking about land rent. Your question is more unique and specific. So maybe I'll request you, I don't know, you can share your contacts, or you can contact the customer care and specify that you are in the webinar and you have this kind of issue, then we'll follow up. But basically, the way the system was implemented for the general knowledge, that before you do a transfer, you have to clear the land rents that are pending. So that is why you might get a message telling you not all pending invoices have not been paid against the parcel. But for your case, Gideon, I see it's more specific. And contact the customer care and they contact you. Maybe I'll request Mr. Kaosho to take over on the other question.
Maybe before I take other question, I think Gideon is raising an issue on the Business Amendment Act on whether it exempted land rent. I think maybe interpretation sometimes differ, because what we exempted was not payment of land rent. What was we exempted was the land rent clearance that was required, which was a document that you required to get from the Land Administration Department, and also a consent. As you can see, land rent is or that land belongs to the government. When Ardhisasa, which is a one-stop shop, you are able to make clearance for your land rent, then you can be able now to proceed. Therefore, the system will not allow you to do transactions if they are pending rent payments. And therefore, what we exempted, or our interpretation is, we did not exempt payment of land rent. What we were saving you from is the issue of going to a different department, getting a clearance. As you can see, the fact that rates are not synchronized with Ardhisasa will not make a demand for you to provide a rent clearance certificate. But for land rent, which already is already integrated with the system, you will obviously be required to make clearance. I'm just trying to see whether there are other issues. Maybe I can ask Timothy maybe to talk on where we are on land rent for sectionals. I think that is a new issue that is coming up, that is being worked on by our development team, where the rent that has been apportioned to sectional units, I think there are some people who are experiencing challenges. Maybe we can have specific issues that our clients have, or yourselves have, the specific properties. We'll be able to provide an email where you can notify us some of the pending issues that you have and specific cases that you have. For those who have pending issues on Ardhisasa, I think in the previous webinars, we have been able to respond on the emails. Of course, there have been so many requests here and there. So we have tried our best to be able to respond to some of them. So I'll ask him whether maybe to touch briefly on the issue of land rent for sectional units.
On the issue of sectional properties, before I answer about the land rent, let me just iron out some few issues. We do have a module for two modules for sectional properties on the system, which one of them is registration of a corporation that's in the system. So for sectional properties that were newly registered before the launch of the system, and they had not registered for a corporation, I believe you are able to do that on the system. We also do have a module for registration of new developments on the system. It starts with survey department, and it goes, when you register the sectional survey, then it moves to registration department, and you will see a module which is called registration of sectional plans on the system. Now, the registration of sectional plans on the system operates a number of steps. You will be registering for the corporation, you'll be registering for, you'll be applying for registration of the sectional plan. This is the first step. Then the corporation, it is incorporated with surrender of the title and the registration of the sectional units. So I believe it's a new module which has not been talked about, but it is something that's on the system now. We can do that. About the rent for sectional properties, we have a challenge, as Mr. Kaosha had said, and we are ironing out the issue, and probably in the next webinar, we will be able to give you information on the way forward. So we ask that you be patient as we will be informing you in the next webinars. I've seen a gentleman asking, or I don't know if it's a gentleman or a lady, asking about a transfer. What is the consideration amount to be put on the system, but transfer for family-owned properties? Now, we understand that on the system, you'll be asked for a consideration amount, which is compulsory. If the amount is nil, which is will be transfer due to, is a term which is usually used. Is it love and affection or what? Yeah, under love and affection, kindly put a figure of 0. Because basically it's a nil or it's a 0, there is no consideration amount. The system will still allow you to progress with that application. So you will be able to do your transfer under that kind of, because you'll have touched the necessary documentation to prove it that it's a transfer under that kind of nature. Mr. Kaosha, back to you.
There's another question on POAs. Pre-Ardhisasa. For those POAs that had been registered at the Nairobi block, what you just require to do is just to raise a ticket and have the POA synchronized with the attorney. Of course, we have always explained that there was a bit of some change on the naming of the POA or the numbering, because we are able to introduce the registration unit before the POA number that existed, so that if your POA number was number 1/1 of 2023, you'll find that under Ardhisasa it will be Nairobi /1/1 of 2023. Put your copies of the POA so that we can make verification on our POA book. But for those powers of attorney that have been registered under different regime, then the position currently is you have to register the POA again. We already have a module now that is working for the power of attorney. So the donor requires to have an Ardhisasa account, and the donee needs to have an account. And then, of course, they are able to register their power of attorney on Ardhisasa. I know we have been having discussions on, especially on issues for those undertaking conversion, on having a power of attorney so that they are able to do conversion for RTAs and GLA. There is a discussion that is going on so that we are able to enable those persons to be able to do the POA, or to be able to use the power of attorney, of course, now using the converted number or the Nairobi block number, so that we can be able to allow for those people who want to do conversions from RTL, GLA, to be able to sign or to execute on behalf of their clients. We'll be providing the email, our emails, so that you can be able to follow up on the transactions that you have. I know there have been several issues that have been raised on valuation.